forums, communications, newsletters, which is actually our topic today, and we'll definitely dig a little deeper into. So make sure you stay on at the end. We'll have a really good question answer session and a nice offer for everybody that has joined the webinar. As far as my background, for those of you who haven't heard one of my sessions before, I have worked in the ambassador arena, building programs from the ground up, jumping in and helping grow programs, as well as consulted with many brands on potential ambassador program directions based on my experience in the field. I've worked hands-on with building programs over, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 ambassadors, all while keeping an incredibly close community, as well as smaller programs at 50 or more. But whatever program I've been involved with, I've been able to help tailor the brand to their loyalists and help cultivate truly special programs that have increased both brand awareness and revenue. And I might add that all the while working on these programs, we were definitely using BrandChamp, which helped leverage not only the management and revenue, but also the communities created through the program. So let's get started here. With today's conversation, we'll be talking about best practices of communications and engagement with your brand and your ambassador base. Keeping in mind, not all programs are the same, whether it be the size of your program, your budget, your desired social media outlets, and more. What I do feel should be the same across any brand and their ambassador base is some type of continued communications, as this will keep your ambassadors inspired, have a feeling of personal connection, and of course, a desire to stay connected with the brand and in turn engaged with their following. So today I'll discuss the importance of those very first communication points, your welcoming and onboarding. This will be a very important first step to your ambassadors' first interaction with the brand, but also you, the ambassador brand manager. Your next follow-up communications with your ambassadors, why it's important to you both, and potential ideas to keep your ambassadors not only engaged with their following, but their fellow ambassadors. And that's where I'll discuss forums you may want to incorporate into your program. Great methods of following up by giving your ambassadors updates, whether it be through newsletters, routine emails, and finally the possibility of one-on-one communication, which I know sounds a little scary, but for some programs, it just might work to keep that connection with an ambassador who seeks extra guidance. But after going through today's webinar, my hope is that you find one or a few useful tools to keep your brand ambassadors engaged, to make them feel special by the communications you put in place. So let's see, I'm seeing one person that may not be able to hear. You might need to enable your microphone or your speakers to hear, because I think we're doing all right with the volume. Okay, so when an ambassador applies, they are typically anxiously awaiting the letter. And hopefully it's that welcome to your brand. They open up the letter to find your fabulous welcome and introduction to the program. So here's where it all starts: the wealth of information for your new brand representation. In my experience, and I just lost connection for some reason. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, I'm back. Great. Okay, let me go back to my slides. I'm back. Thank you. I am not sure what's going on here. So let me go to my slides. Let's go back to my slides. There we are. Okay, I apologize for that. That was kind of odd. I'm not sure what happened. So I'm going to just start over with this slide that when an ambassador applies, they're typically anxiously awaiting for the letter, and hopefully it's that welcome to your brand ambassador. Your subject line will be the drum roll for them, and then they open up the letter to find a fabulous welcome and introduction to the program. So here's where it all starts. The wealth of information for your brand representation, and in my experience with welcome letters, it's best to start off with that happy, welcome excitement, but also get down to business because they're ready to do the same. Get down to business and represent your brand. Give them enough information, but don't overwhelm them with too much detail that their heads are spinning and they don't know where to start first. While you may have had your program rules, regulations, guidelines, and agreements up front during the application process, it's always good to provide a link with the information again so that they remember exactly what they signed up for, expectation-wise. And if you don't have an official program policy, you may want to list out briefly your expectations in the welcome letter when it comes to posting requirements, conduct, brand representation, etc. And let them know what are the next steps, such as getting registered on the BrandChamp portal. This is going to be a whole new world for them, potentially, if they haven't been on some type of management portal. So you may want to call it your brand's ambassador portal and let them know what it is and how great it will be, a tool for them for maintaining their information, social media guidance, where they'll gain great rewards or commissions, receive communications, and more. So ambassadors are always excited about shopping, discounts, referrals, and of course, rewards. Give them an idea of what they'll expect to find on BrandChamp as far as their referral link. And remember, there's ambassadors who may not even know what a referral link is. So give them a layman's explanation. It's the link to the website that you get credit should somebody, purchase through it. Maybe a personal share discount code if your brand is offering this. Let them know that when they join the portal, it's going to be there for them. And if they get their own personal shop code or allowance to purchase items from your website, you may want to let them know that either if you're ready to give it to them then, or in my personal opinion, I wait till an ambassador has either finished registering on BrandChamp or actually completing one of their first activities to go ahead and give them their personal shop code or maybe an allowance to buy some product or gear or whatever it may be that you're offering through your website. So, that's great information to put in there. And then also maybe if you're planning on having a forum that they can join, provide links. A forum meaning a Facebook group, a Slack channel, discourse app, provide links for them to join. And so that way they know that they're somewhere to go to join a community to get information. And then maybe other links. Do you have FAQs, tutorials, or other helpful information to guide them through their onboarding? It's a great place to start them off, and they should, so that should they have questions about the program. So what I want to just quickly do is just show you over here what I'm going to share my screen and show you just our demo software, how to set up, a great onboarding welcome letter. So here we can just let you want to tailor this to your lingo, to what information you want to get across when you are onboarding an ambassador. So you can provide really nice personalizations with your tokens, provide links to guidelines, your registration to BrandChamp, anything else that might help them. And like I said, use the way you would speak in your company's marketing or whatever that may be. But it's really nice because here you can tailor it for your ambassadors. And then before you send it off or have it ready, this is where what they will see when they receive it. So, and you could always tweak it to be exactly what you would like it, to be for your welcome. So let's see, one last thing. Finally, so what's next? You've listed out a bunch of information in your welcome letter. expectations for the ambassador, but when will they hear from you again and how? This is very important because while we wish everyone would read everything we put in our letters and program guidelines, there's a good chance you'll get the few that do not. So it's good to outline what your next steps of communication are, as well as contact information, which is typically the program manager. So what will your next communication be? I find there are a few methods that will help ease the learning curve and give your ambassadors, whether it be a little hand holding or just the reassurance that someone is there to help them out if needed. For many of my programs, I like to send an email out, a follow-up through BrandChamp as like a quote unquote check-in, or how you doing, or what's next, or don't forget to do such and such, these types of emails to get a pulse check on who has set up, or registered in BrandChamp, who's already engaged. But also, I send emails out to those who haven't even taken action yet, those who haven't registered, those who have not set up their profile. So I actually set up 2 emails on BrandChamp that, I'll tailor for any program, and my timing also is tailored for any program, but I can filter out through my ambassadors to see who has done exactly that, who has registered and set up their profile and who hasn't. And so what I do from there is I'll follow up with a letter. And let me go ahead and show you how I do this on BrandChamp. Head over. So I can find my BrandChamps here. And the beauty of this, I set up a couple of filters. So here, I want to find out who my 2-week follow-ups are. So who has a profile, who's a member, which means they're in the program, whose profile has gone through, and they've been in the program less for 14 days. Well, if I have a list of 5, 10, 20, 30 people, I'm going to go ahead and tag them as active. Then I'll go ahead to my 2-week remind, and I'll look at who doesn't have a profile, but I accepted them into the program. And it's within 2 weeks when I wanted them to sign up. So I'm going to tag them as inactive. And then I'm going to go to my emails, and I have a couple of emails in draft here. And here I've already got it tagged, inactive and active. So my active members, they're going to get a follow-up letter, just checking in to see how you're doing. Here's your shop code, because now I know they're registered in the system. Don't forget to join a group, blah, blah, blah. You put what in ever works for your brand. And then I may have a follow-up to those that did not register within the system. Just checking to see if you received our welcome email, because we haven't heard from you. If you didn't get it, but now you do, well, please register here, and we can't wait to hear from you. So you want to follow up because you want to make sure that they see that you are interacting with them. So, I think it's just really important to have that type of follow-up with your brands. So now here's the other thing. What part of your next follow-up? Did you decide maybe email's not your route of follow-up? Maybe your program is more in line with a newsletter, or a newsletter is a great way to have, regardless, as it's an easy way to set up a template, pop in pertinent company and brand information, any updates, special promotions, tips and tricks with using BrandChamp, and a great place to feature your ambassadors. Give a little shout out to someone. So it's just a nice way to have some monthly catch-ups with your ambassadors. So do you want to have an ambassador-only forum for ambassadors to meet and greet, communicate with each other, and for you to provide company or brand information? This is to me a great place that you can have that intimate place where ambassadors can interact with each other and you can provide some valuable information. Or maybe you want something a little more simplified or segmented with a messaging forum such as Slack or Discourse, or there's many platforms out there, and many though will have a fee. So think about your budget, what works for you and your ambassadors. A forum could do the same as a Facebook group, provide internal communications, conversations. But what's great is, like I said, you can segment it and really drill down on your brand and program content. And as I mentioned before, in a newsletter or email, it's always great to know exactly what the content of your follow-up is and the value of it. Think about what you want to remind them of, the best way to get information, as well as the best way to contact someone about any questions. It's truly, and I can't stress enough how important it is to have follow-up, as you are going to have ambassadors, like I said, that need extra hand-holding or guidance. But you will also have the eager ambassadors who want to know what they can do next, which is amazing because both really want to know what they can do for the company and the brand, and they want to share. All right, so I'd like to go back to discussing ambassador forums and why I think they are important and the value they bring to the brand as well as the community that you're building. A place like Facebook group is an intimate place for your like-minded representatives to meet and greet with each other, learn about each other, share and connect. While this may or may not work for each ambassador, I'm pretty sure you will find that they do want to connect. They want to meet others that have the same passion they do about your brand. And I think a forum, whichever it may be, is also a perfect place to get the word out about any upcoming plans for the company, product releases, sales, promotions, gather input, opinions, or feature ambassadors. It's always great to call out one or a few routinely to give kudos for something they're doing in their community, incredible images they've posted, a blog that's chock full of information. It's also a great place to feature an area of the BrandChamp portal, maybe answers to questions you routinely get about it. You could always have a challenge or a contest, and it's truly amazing how ambassadors will come out of the woodwork for a fun challenge in which there might be a winner, or everyone gets a gift at the end there. So I will say managing a forum does take staffing time, so keep this in mind as you grow your program and add on extras to it. The beauty of a Facebook group or messaging forum, you're continually building your community. So once I've established my first round of emails, Facebook group posts, or default newsletters, I've typically established a routine mode of communications. While it may be repetitious, you may want to do what I did, which was provide the same information in different modes. For example, with one brand, I would do a monthly video check-in, an update for the ambassadors, but in conjunction with that, I would take the same information and incorporate it into a newsletter to send out, because some ambassadors were super engaged and more visual on the Facebook group, where others were so much more appreciative of the newsletter to read on their own and focus on the areas they were more interested in. And once I sent out a newsletter, I left a copy of it on the Facebook group or the forum, and you could do the same. Whatever method you decide, I do think it's important to have something sent out on a monthly basis to give your ambassadors updates. And again, any method creates that inclusivity, that they were part of something special, and gives them an edge to what's going on with the company. A newsletter may be, for the less engaged, straight to the facts. And on the flip side, a video may be a fun way for the ambassadors to see and meet the program leaders, brand leaders, or have any guest, maybe, video spots on there. And then other methods, again, if you just want to send out a routine email or a post, whichever it may be. Just remember, it all takes time, and just make sure that you have it all in line with your scope of work and how much time you can put into it. So lastly, I'd like to talk about one-on-one communications. And like I said before, it sounds really scary, as I'm sure you could be picturing like hundreds or thousands of ambassadors reaching out to you all hours of the day and night. But if you set the expectations up front, it actually can become quite valuable to your program and making a difference to an ambassador. So what I've done in the past, I personally use Facebook Messenger for any one-on-one communications. And it's just the best way that I went about reaching out for those who said, I can't find an answer anywhere type of message. I don't give anyone my cell phone, and I personally don't have as much interaction with Instagram messaging. Email for me is more business hours. So if it's urgent, you can message me. But I do set up parameters and almost like a protocol as to when you can contact me. And because I do feel that if you set it up in the front, then they will respect it, and they will take the time to figure out, what the answer is to their questions. So first of all, I'll, line out, did you read the welcome letter? Did you click on those helpful links that I sent you? If there's a Facebook group or another forum, did you ask other ambassadors out there? Did you ask? Just, search the forum. 9 out of 10 times, someone will have an answer for you. Now, many times I'll get people who have a question about the shopping website, whether there's an order problem or something to check with customer service. That's what I'm going to tell them to do. Check with customer service, use the form on the website, email info at, because honestly, I'm not the person, and the ambassadors are not the person to go to for that type of information about an order placed. Customer services, and they will have a much better answer than I will. And then think before messaging, on off hours. Is it really that important? And did you exhaust all options? So you've exhausted all your options? Okay, Facebook, message me, except on Sundays, because that was always my one day where I just explained to them this was not my communications day. That was kind of my downtime family day. So the beauty for my programs, is that I have helped people out, many, many ambassadors, but I've also been there for someone who's struggling or just needed to let me know something. I've had ambassadors let me into their world as to why they haven't been so active, or just checking in to make sure they're doing the things the right way. And I realized it became an outlet for them, which encouraged them and showed them what our community was about. And while I wasn't an ambassador, I was the manager of the program, and I was still very intricately involved with the community. I mean, it's what we built, and it was a really big representation of the brand. And while I'm not recommending this for everyone, it has helped in some of the programs I've managed. Others, we have stuck to email. So I want to end this by saying no method is the method for everyone. But what I will say, and this does span across programs, is that your ambassadors want to hear from you. They want to learn about what's to come, insider information, program highlights, features, promotions, maybe some tips and tricks to BrandChamp if they're, they are struggling in some area. Whatever it may be, to keep them in the know with your program, and by doing that, you'll keep them engaged on a level that will show a genuine love, not just for the product, but also for the company that they're representing. So with that, lots of information. I am truly hoping that it all went through, and you were able to hear me and see everything. I would like to open this up for questions. Should anyone have any questions about the communications that you have experienced, what you would like to do, some struggles you may have, just feel free to put it in the chat session here, and I would love to get some information out to you. And while you're maybe thinking about that, one thing, just my email is up here, noelle@brandchamp.io, and know that you could shoot me a message anytime. And we do have some offers for you all that I can put up here while you're potentially looking at answering questions, asking questions. Okay, let me just get these sent out. Okay, not sure how it looks on your end, but looks like we do have some. Excellent. Okay, our marketing team. First question, our marketing team wants to know if emails can be sent through Klaviyo, or if BrandChamp works with Klaviyo in any way. They want to be able to customize the emails and make sure they're on brand. At this point in time, Marissa, there's no full integration with Klaviyo, and there's two ways you can go about this. You can pull the HTML code from Klaviyo, or if you're on MailChimp, and bring that over into our email portal or application on BrandChamp, and that way you'll make sure that you've got your branding, you've got your coloring, your imagery. Right now, you can on your higher tiered levels of BrandChamp, you can have branding where you can pull in your colors, your logos, and that can automatically be imported or placed on all of your emails. But right now, there is not a full integration with Klaviyo or MailChimp, and I know that they definitely would love to have more discussions about that, because we do know that email is still a very valuable tool for engagement with people. Okay, another question. What does your onboarding process look like? Do you use activities, or do you prefer to just provide information via email? It really is brand dependent. For one brand, which was one of the big companies that I work for that had, well over 1,500 ambassadors, I actually sent the email out, and then they actually needed to do some onboarding activities. So if they were already an ambassador on the platform and they wanted, and we had to give them, not had to, but part of the program was we needed to give them their semi-annual allowance or discount. In order to get that, we actually use activities. So for example, announce or re-announce that you're an ambassador to this program, to this brand. And once that they put that in there, had to be a public post, had to live on, if it's Instagram, it couldn't be a story, had to be on their feed. Same with Facebook. Once they submitted that and it was approved, we had BrandChamp automatically reward them with their product allowance or their discount. And with another brand that I work with, we actually use the initial setup of your profile. You do not receive the onboarding quote unquote gift until you set up your profile. Once you set up your profile, which is like registering this system, automatically you will go ahead and get your reward. And so the great thing about this is, and let me share my screen again, is I will go in, create an activity. And so activity types here, I'm going to create a new activity, and it's going to be a reward-based activity. So they actually need to complete the activity to get the reward. And it's actually using what's called a reward token. Okay, so if they satisfy doing their profile, they'll get $5 gift card or whichever it may be. So it's really nice. You could set up reward tokens where they complete the activity, and boom, they receive a reward. You don't always have to have a reward with it, but it's just always nice. It's kind of like that low-hanging fruit that creates that excitement when you are onboarding or keeping ambassadors engaged. And another thing that you could do with providing information through activities, I have used activities to put surveys out there. I have used activities to acknowledge updates to a plan, program guidelines or agreements. If I have an addendum that I need to add to it, if you need to update your conduct rules, well, then you could actually make it as an activity, and they could acknowledge that they read it, initial it, and submit it. So let's see. And next question is, can you speak about how a brand chooses whether to deploy an ambassador versus an influencer program? Sure. I have been more involved with ambassador programs while incorporating influencers. So I think the big thing with this is when you onboard an ambassador or an influencer, you want to look at their engagement. So if I have an ambassador, for example, I like to put a call out to my customer base because they're the people using my products. They're the people who can speak to the brand. While they may not have 50,000 followers, they may have 1,000 followers, and their engagement could be upwards of 50%. And then I may have an influencer who has 50,000 followers, but the engagement may not be as high, but it might be. So I would look at it two ways. What's the engagement you're going to receive? Also, what's your budget? Because many times when you incorporate an influencer program, which I think works great for many, many brands for sure, but in this day and age, I know we're very, very careful about budget and marketing because there's so many avenues you can go to, that an influencer might take more out of your budget because you may have, a flat fee, you may have a higher commission, and you may not have the control as to when things get posted. Although you may have an influencer who is your brand representative, which I'm sure then that almost becomes like a contracted employment role of what you're going to offer them. So I personally like to incorporate both into my programs. And the really cool thing is once you start seeing your ambassadors sharing across their platforms, and they're hitting their following, and then all of a sudden their following joins in and want to be a part of it. What I have experienced is influencers actually start approaching you, or could start approaching you, especially if you have a brand that is, people are speaking so highly of because they know it, they've used it. They, for me, typically, if I'm going to bring an ambassador on, they're going to know and love that product because I want them to talk about it, represent it, answer any questions that their following may have about it. So I do think that there's lots of area, we could go into this a lot, but something to definitely weigh. What's your budget? Who are you looking for? How many influencers? If you can have 5 influencers, but you can then have 1,000 ambassadors or 500 ambassadors, that might be something to look at. And I think it's awesome to have a good combination of both, because it's really cool when you have that engagement also with your ambassadors and your influencers. So hopefully that answered your question. Anybody else? Anybody else? So what else can I speak to here? Does anyone have any questions about, the forums, or, setting up a private Facebook group, or anything about newsletters? Like I know you were talking about Klaviyo or MailChimp. Many times, we'll do newsletters through there, but if you can import, one second, if you can import that, HTML, it's awesome. You can set up the newsletters as well. Okay, I have another question coming. Let's see what our question is. I can keep talking while it's being typed. Let's see, what else? Can BrandChamp generate a customer referral link? So, yeah, so what happens is, let me just scroll up to this. So can BrandChamp generate a customer referral link? Yes. If you are integrated with your e-commerce store, for example, with Shopify or WooCommerce, what happens is you integrate your store, and then, or integrate your backend, and then when you accept the ambassador into the program and you have designated referral links, and I can show you here on my shared screen. Let me go ahead and bring that back up. Let's go ahead to referrals, referral link templates. And so here you can actually set up what your referral links will do. So for example, this will take you to your website's homepage. And from there, if someone shops through that referral link, they will get 10% either as cash or points. So everyone gets a unique bit.ly link that is their referral link. So it's really a great feature, I think, for, for all ambassadors. It kind of shows them that also that really cool satisfaction that someone clicked on their link and someone made a purchase. So what does it look like using the Slack channel? So for me, Slack, I think, is a great tool. I use Slack for, for company business. I've used it for, for internal. I actually use it for ambassadors. It's funny. We used Slack, I think this was 5 years ago, before, way before I joined BrandChamp, we used Slack, and I had about 10 or 15 ambassadors. That was our communication tool to test out BrandChamp and just to get a lot of great feedback. And we would take that feedback, we would talk to BrandChamp. They would give me feedback. And so the nice thing is that you can use a channel that now is specific to certain ambassadors. So let's say I had a program where you had captains, which was my highest tier mentors. They could have their own channel, and we could have our own discussions about, anything essentially as far as the program, help with certain things. Then you could have a greater channel for the whole entire group. You can have a channel that is strictly sales and promotions that will be coming up for the future of the brand. Or maybe you have another Slack channel about, I don't know, input on product. So Slack is awesome. I think you could really customize it and have it to exactly the type of information you want to communicate. And like I said, you just invite people to the different channels to communicate what you're talking, about with the program. So how do you host your surveys? Do you use a third party or the comment box within BrandChamp? I do both. For example, one brand, I was looking for bloggers, and I needed to, find all the bloggers. And when you have 1,000+ ambassadors, and while it may be, it may not have been a mandatory question on my application, or it's not the focus that I had, I needed to find out who my bloggers were. So I put an activity that said, who's our bloggers? Who are the bloggers out here? Submit your link. And that way, that was, like almost like a survey. Otherwise, if I want to go into a little more deeper survey, I will typically use something like a Survey Monkey or something like that. But you could definitely get really creative with BrandChamp, because one feature that I absolutely love in BrandChamp, and I'm going to go ahead, I have to remember to share my screen. One feature that I absolutely love in BrandChamp, when you're creating an activity, okay, I'm just going to quickly go on and create an activity here. You have the ability to create multiple tasks here. So you could create these tasks, and it could be 3 different questions, okay? And you could ask them to respond in each task with a text and make it an automatically approved activity, which means they submit it, and then it automatically gets approved. But the great thing is you could say, I want you to do all 3 of these tasks. Or if I have, 3 questions, you have to answer all 3 of these questions. So this is a really great way to use BrandChamp and stay within the platform to get the information that you're looking for. Okay, let's go back here. How do you create a personal referral link? Is it through BrandChamp? Yes. So when you are in BrandChamp, you have the ability to create referrals. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. Okay. And then let's go over to my screen, and let's go over to referrals. So here we've created our referral link templates. So this is the template to say, when you create a referral, this is what you're going to get, 10% cash, 10% commission. So once you've integrated your Shopify or WooCommerce, then the system will automatically create referral links. And then so when you go into the user, you'll click on referrals, you'll come down here, and so this is their own profile, and this shows their personal referral link. So all you have to do is copy it, put it in your Instagram bio, put it in your Facebook bio, put it in your post, an email, a text. It's really great. It gets clicked on, it goes to this, in this case, the Free Range Spirit demo, e-commerce site, and then they shop and get credit for it. And they will see that when they get credit in their profile, it will line up here and they'll see what they've earned. And then pending just means that there's a time period that needs to go through. So it's a really great tool to capture that information and track where the sales are coming from. Okay, let's see. Is this feature only for ambassadors? I'm going to have to ask Daniel because your question probably came in after a few other questions. So if you could clarify which feature is only for ambassadors, that would be awesome. And then Anthony, what's the best way to inform ambassadors about their custom link? Also, is there a way to provide a discount code for free product upon acceptance in our program, especially if they all fall under one niche tag? Yes. So let's start with the first question. What's the best way to inform ambassadors about their custom link? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. And here in my welcome email, let's go into my applicant accepted. This to me is the best place to let them know what's coming up next for them, because you can. Right here, you've got their personal discount code if they have one. So these are tokens that you add here, but then their referral link. So I personally like to give a pretty nice overview because ambassadors are super stoked about shopping, but also sharing. So I let them know in my welcome letter that they've got a referral link. And like I said in the presentation, and I'm not sure if I got cut off with our audio glitch, I like to give them a little bit of a layman's explanation because not everybody fully understands what a referral link is. So I would explain everything in your welcome email, and that will give them a great snapshot so that when they actually log on, register themselves, as soon as they register, that referral link is already going to show up in their profile. So, it's such a great dashboard for the end user as long as you make sure that they have the information. Is there a way to provide a discount code for free product upon acceptance into our program? Absolutely. You can either create that discount code, and like I said, I like to create free product upon acceptance into the program as an activity reward, meaning that they've performed an activity, and it could be something as simple as registering on the platform. And once they've done that, they will automatically get either a discount code through your Shopify or WooCommerce, and by getting that discount code, they can automatically shop or receive it. Now that is considered so you have an integrated with your e-commerce site, and that is like here. We've got it integrated with e-commerce. I gotta share it again, sorry, screen. Great. So in your rewards, you have it integrated with your Shopify so that they complete an activity, boom, they get, it could be an automatic approval, they get a discount code, a free product code, whichever it may be. And the beauty of it is that since it's integrated with your e-commerce, it pulls in exactly the product that you designated. And those are automated. The other ones you can do, you can make them custom, where let's say you have a t-shirt that's not on your website. Well, then the ambassador will actually claim the reward and you process it yourself, shipping, whichever that may be. So either way, it's an activity reward, which I think is a great way to get instant gratification with your ambassadors and a reward. And then especially if they fall under one niche tag. Yeah, so BrandChamp has tagging on different program levels. So it really is based on which package that you have with BrandChamp. Everyone has tagging with emails. However, when you get tagging on the rewards and activities, that's in different packages that we have with BrandChamp. Okay, and then Daniel says, I was regarding to the referral link for customers. I was thinking of something like Uber Refer a Friend program. Currently, and I may have to come back to you on this, Daniel, but right now, you can create multiple referral links in BrandChamp, but it is all pretty much directed to the ambassador. So, but I will get a little more information and I could email you after this with an answer, but that is probably right now it is specific to the ambassador. Okay, anybody else? There's been a lot of awesome questions going on here. And just in case anyone didn't see the offer, or just a reminder of what I do with BrandChamp is I work, I manage the managed services division of BrandChamp, and it's so great. We could do so much flexibility as far as what your needs are. If you need just like maybe 10 hours of consulting, or if you need someone to manage your program or a facet of your program, or just to get you off the ground, definitely shoot me an email if you have any questions about that. Now, can you refresh on how tags work? Absolutely. So tags, and I'm going to go ahead and switch my screen over again. So tags, and like I said, with tags, everyone gets tags with emails, which, like I said before, I can tag someone, I can tag a group, and I can send an email with that tag. So for example, everyone who registered within 2 weeks, now I'm going to send them a follow-up because they have the tag active. Or, did they miss the welcome letter? There's a couple places where you can add these tags. The first one, and we'll go into the BrandChamp itself, you go into their profile and you can tag them. So I may have tags already listed, or maybe I don't. Let's see if I have one here. I've got foodie. So maybe Allison's a foodie and I want to tag her as a foodie. Now, if I want to send an email to all the foodies, then all I have to do is put that tag when I'm creating an email, and all I have to do is click compose, send an email to BrandChamps with tags, and put in the chat tag foodie. And so that is pretty much how it's going. I guess I didn't type it in. I didn't select it. So that's how they are going to send emails specific to that. Another way you can do that you can do, I'm going to click out of that. You can also bulk tag people. So let's say I know that all of these ambassadors here are some type of tag. I can go in, I can add tags, and we can go ahead and just choose any tag there. So we can go ahead, apply changes, and now all of these ambassadors are set up as athletes tag. And then you could also select certain ones and you can add or remove. So lots of flexibility with tags. So that is, like I said, everyone has that for emails. But now when you have, either our growth or our community plan or our enterprise plan, you can actually target your segments when you're creating an activity. So when you create an activity, and let's go ahead and just find one here. Here's one. Here's a semi-annual sale. If I have tagging, I've created my my activity. Then I go to availability, and here I can choose my tag there. Now everyone who's tagged an athlete will see, they're the only ones who will see this activity. So it's an awesome feature, especially if you have a brand that crosses so many different areas. For example, I work with a brand that has foodies, they have fitness gurus, they have lifestyle, is just their MO with their Instagram, or travelers. So I don't necessarily want to tag the foodie with the athlete, although they may be one and the same, but I may have athletes that don't want to have anything to do with cooking, and I may have foodies that don't care about a workout. So I would look at those and say, okay, I'm going to tag this person, I'm going to tag that person. However, you still want to look at, for example, if I'm having a semi-annual sale, I probably don't want to tag. I want it to go to every single person. So, it's great. You can have lots of flexibility with that. Okay, let's get back. Let's see. Yes. Are the tags hidden from the ambassadors? Yes. So you create the tags on the back end in your BrandChamps, and they don't know, that they're tagged. And that is essentially just to help. It really is just to help you, especially with bigger programs, diverse programs, like I said, that have multiple facets of, lifestyles, like I said, whether it be a foodie, an athlete, lifestyle, musician. It just helps you segment so that you're directing it to the right audience. So that if you have a musician and you have some really great activities that you want to go out to the following world of musicians, you probably want to focus that. If you have, other, specialties that have absolutely nothing to do with music, and people may not, care to share it. So it really helps you as an administrator focus on that. Okay, let's see. I have another question. Something we plan to do for our ambassadors is offer them a 30% VIP discount that can be used for personal shopping, friends, family, up to one time per month. We want to switch that code up every 30 days. Is this something we can do within BrandChamp? I'm still new to BrandChamp and Shopify, so any guidance would be appreciated. Yes, I mean, I will typically do, because I have programs where the ambassador does get a discount based on their level, or like you said, a VIP discount. And I set that up on my e-commerce. So I'm going to set it up in Shopify, or I'm going to set it up in WooCommerce. And from there, you can share it via email, and you can tell them to share it. If I think you're saying that they could share with, one time per month with friends or family. So there's one of two ways you can do this. You can do it strictly through WooCommerce and Shopify, in your case, Shopify, and then share it in an email, and then just put your expiration and your limitations on that. The other would be when you go into, let's go into screen sharing again. When you go into your discount code sets, this would be a little more manual, but you can go ahead and add discount codes, okay, to your specific ambassadors. Okay, so similar to a referral code, you're going to set it up in Shopify, and it will then integrate here in BrandChamp. But if you want it to be once a month, that's something you want to put on your calendar and make sure that once it's expired in Shopify, it won't be valid. You'll just want to disable it on the BrandChamp side so that it's no longer viewable. So that to me would probably be your best bet for something like that. And Marissa, I can really help you with if you have any questions after the webinar. If you want to email me, I have done a lot of level discount code sharing. I've done a lot of working with Shopify to make sure that codes are used properly, as within BrandChamp to make sure that codes are reported properly. So this could, codes could be a definite whole other conversation, which like I said, if you want to email me afterwards, or if you ever want to do a video chat, we can definitely go through that so that we can review both your BrandChamp and your Shopify for that. So anybody else? We've got about 4 minutes left. And so absolutely. So if there are, and a couple things. So we are sending these recordings out once I get the recording from our host. and cleaning it up so that you don't have all the dead time at the beginning and the end. So I will send out a recording of this again. There are handouts attached to, attached to this, which is essentially a PDF that is shared on here, but I can certainly share it again in an email to everybody. And also, I would love to know if there's any subjects that you would like us to talk about in the future. We're doing this every other week. My next one is probably going to be on reporting. There's a lot of ins and outs with reporting on helping you out. Oh, we have one more question. Just wondering if there are any resources I could read to help me build the best brand ambassador program through BrandChamp. I'm brand new to ambassador management. You know what? That we have a huge help file. So, you know, if you can go into BrandChamp, gosh, I keep forgetting to share my screen. Let me get over here, share the screen. When you're in BrandChamp, we have a great list of videos and documentation and guides to help you out. But, you know, and seriously, this is a wealth of information that they're constantly updating. But honestly, if you ever have any questions about best practices or what works for your brand, send me an email and I would be really happy to talk to you about it and do a video chat, because it's really different for every company in how to scale your program. What are the best activities you can put out there? What are the best rewards? And ultimately, there's two things you got to look out for. You, of course, want to get the revenue that, you know, from your ambassador program, but you also have to be really careful of your budget and what you're putting out there. And I say this in every webinar, because you can really get caught up with sending rewards out, like, you know, on a crazy basis. So I would love to help you talk about it, but in the meantime, definitely check out those tutorials. And do you have any suggestions on very effective ambassador recruitment strategies? Absolutely, Simon. I would say, first and foremost, hit up your customer base. I think your customer base is one of your best places to go, because they're the ones who know and love your product. And then from there, you're going to it's going to naturally evolve, and you're going to start seeing your program grow. And I would say be a little easy with your restrictions. If you're typically used to having 10,000 or more followers, ease up on that and say, it's okay to have 1,000 followers. Let's look at your engagement. I received an email from someone a couple of weeks ago who was looking at affiliate versus becoming an ambassador. And we had a great email conversation. And I said, it's okay that you don't have 10,000 followers. And she said, well, most programs require that. And my thing is this: if you have the seats in your program, for example, if you are on one of our levels that has 500 seats and you have 400 sitting there waiting to be filled, fill them up, because that is more exposure to your brand. That is hitting not just your customer base, but now all of their following in a really organic sense. I would also do a social media shout out. And if you have Instagram, I would leave it as a story, like just a highlight that anyone can click on and have links to getting to your program from there. So I am a firm believer in hitting up your customer base and, you know, getting it out there on social media. Put it out there in your email marketing. Maybe schedule a quarterly spot, maybe monthly spot. It depends on how many ambassadors you want to have in your email marketing. Have a window at the bottom, or have a full page spread twice a year that shows your ambassadors in action, which is usually a huge draw, because then people start to see that there are people like you and me and my neighbor and, you know, the person down the block that are ambassadors. And those are the people who are really going to help you get the word out about your product. All right. That was a lot of fun. I really appreciate all of the questions we had out there. We are coming on the end. Remember, if you guys are interested in managed services, shoot me an email. I really appreciate the interaction. And like I said, if you have any suggestions about a webinar on what you can learn, whether it be about BrandChamp specific, ambassador world, you name it, send me an email and say, this is what I want to talk about or listen, hear about on a grand scale. And it's great because then we can have conversations like this, and it helps everybody. It helps, people who are looking at starting a program. It helps people who have been in a program for a while but really need to tweak it and ramp it up. So I thank you all for